Good afternoon. Thank you to the NRF for this opportunity. Thank you all for attending this session this afternoon, and I would like to thank my guest speakers and panelists. So we're going to talk today about one of the big issues that retail organizations must face, which is how to rethink the strategy, the role, the relevance of the physical store, looking at the future under a transformation process which is affecting retail businesses. And I would like to introduce you to our guest speakers, the panelists who are going to share this session with me today. So Marjolein Westerbeek, which is the president of Rituals, which originally is a Dutch company. She's the president of the US division of Rituals. Then we have two Brazilian companies and speakers. Fabio Barreto, who is the CEO of Farm Rio Global, the international division of the Farm brand, which operates under the Soma holding company, House of Brands Group. And Raquel Sherer, which is the Melissa's brand director of the Grandene Brazilian group. So thank you very much for being here today and for sharing this session. So I'm going to start with a few opening remarks just to summarize my perspective on how to address this key discussion about the future of the store, and then we are going to start sharing their perspective on these same subjects. So we can start looking from what can be defined as a new retail's approach. A new retail was the term coined by Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, back in 2016, when he made a big provocation, and they challenged their organization to rethink the retail business model on a new perspective of really looking and putting the customer at the center, relying on data, and rethinking the way this can be leveraged, fully integrated with digital channels to build relevant experiences for the customer, and to take advantage of the power of data and the insights that can generate of consumers' behaviors, expectations, and demands. And we can break this down into four major perspectives. The first one is the strategic perspective, because stores can be a very powerful tool to acquire and maintain customer spaces. Customer acquisition cost has been a big issue for digital retailers, and stores are a cost-effective way of acquiring customers, but this is not measured at all. Another important role of the store is to capture data. Stores can generate big amounts of data. The problem nowadays is that most retailers are not capable of capturing and analyzing this data. The third thing is stores have the unique value proposition of building and engaging customer relationships and customer experiences. Stores are becoming more and more delivery points, logistics and fulfillment platforms, and they can be fully integrated into an omni-channel retail business model with a key cost component to leverage and the business and under a profitable and sustainable way. And finally, stores can become service platforms, not only as a retail as a service business model, but also delivering and adding more and more services and not only products into their offer. If we look at the operational perspective, stores must become more and more smart and empowered by technology. So stores can no longer rely on experience and on the skills accumulated over time by people who's always been in the business, because location must be data-driven. Assortment, pricing, promotions, inventory management, workforce management. So stores can become more productive, stores can become smarter, and this will make them more relevant. On the other hand, they must really be fully integrated, and this means a single view of the customer, a single view of the merchandise and the products across all the channels, and systems that can enable companies to see customers and products in a single way. If we look at the financial perspective, retail organizations will need to redefine their KPIs and the way they measure stores, because the traditional metrics by which stores are measured and evaluated, like sales per square foot, sales per associate, average transaction, they make no sense if we think about them as delivery facilities, if we think about them as service facilities, if we think about them as experience facilities. So the metrics which will be to redefine it in order to better evaluate the real contribution that a store can generate and the value they can generate to a redefined and transformed retail business model. And this, of course, we need to redefine the way retail organizations measure their results, generate results, and allocate their resources, and the way they measure the return on their investments. So eventually, we will have new financial models and new revenue models for retail organizations. And finally, and most importantly, the customer perspective, because customers still like and choose to shop in stores. So that's the point. What are we going to do to keep them choosing to shop in stores and to keep stores as a destination for their shopping journeys? So stores, of course, need to evolve also in the way they interact and deliver value to their customers. So they must become more and more easy and convenient to find and shop at, frictionless, deliver personalized experience, elevate the level of experience they deliver so that people will still choose to go and they will want to be there and to return. So these are some highlights of the topics we are going to discuss now. And I'm going to jump into our first case, which is the rituals business. So I would like to start with a short video that summarizes what rituals is, and then I'm going to call Marjo to share their thoughts about these subjects. Can we run the first video? So the rituals video. So Mar, Rituals defines the store as an oasis, and you pretend that people slow down when they walk in your store. So how do you translate this philosophy into the shopping experience, the store experience? What happens in the store?
Yeah, it's a beautiful question to start with, because even listening to your input, I think life in general can be super overwhelming, and probably it explains a lot about the success behind the Rituals brand. So when you enter one of our stores, and I'm sure one of you have tried it here in New York, you've always are offered a cup of tea to really make sure that people start to open up. So no hard sales pitch. It's really all about stepping away from the day routines which can drive you crazy. And then when you are in our stores, you see a beautiful sakura tree combined with a water island to really be able to try the product, have that conversation. And I think that is also what makes us a little different in the world of retail, that we really invest in the long-term purpose of the brand, and that is business-wise being the #1 global lifestyle and wellness brand. And in order to do so, you have to really share your philosophy with each and every customers by storytelling, and that takes time. And of course, back in the days when we founded the company in 2000, it took us 8 years to really get the company on the rise. But ever since, it has been a beautiful journey for the company. But it learns us that you have to invest and really be persistent in the core of what you want to say as a brand.
And these are all attributes that you can only deliver in physical spaces where people meet other people and interact with each other. And, and on the other hand, how do you combine customers' data, in-store technology, people's training, staff training, so you can deliver more personalized and compelling experience to your clients and take advantage also of the power of data to increase this?
Yeah, exactly. We are super focused to really be part of the community. So every year we open 130 stores, but with each and every store, it's important to really familiarize ourselves with what does the community look like. And of course, a CRM system contributes hugely to that, really knowing what your customers are buying, how frequent, and so you can give them that information right on the spot when they are shopping in your stores, and it gives them a feeling that they are seen and that we know where their preferences are. But I think overarching, the human component remains crucial. So for us within Rituals, we always ask ourselves, is this story, or is this a tool, or is this technology useful for our store managers? Because if they are not able to work with it, you miss a crucial factor in the whole journey.
Absolutely, makes a lot of sense. So let us take a look at the second video, which is about the Farm brand. Can we play the video, please? You have some fans here.
Yeah.
Well, I encourage the ones who still did not visit the Farm store down in Soho to do that. It's a beautiful store. So, Fabio, Rituals defines the store as an oasis, and you define a store as the magical portal, which is very unique too. And you are also opening a new format, which is the farmhouse. But on the other hand, as your video just showed, you've been accelerating the digital transformation agenda with several initiatives. So how do you see the evolution of the farm stores, and how do you see the future evolution of the farm stores?
Sure. I think that ever since Farm was created 23 years ago, the store played a huge role in becoming the obsession that it is with girls in Brazil. So when we look at the future, we think about farmhouse it's a good experience. It's a good example. We're going to have a store in the first floor, then we're going to have a farmhouse itself, like how a farm girl, what she would have in her house. We're going to have cooking experiences, parties. We're going to have, in another floor, we're going to have other types of business that we're going to explore, reselling, renting, personalization. We're going to sell the fabric, and girls can build whatever product they want with that fabric. As you know, Farm is really known for the prints in those fabrics. So, and as we look, it's also really important, like Mad said, to know where you are. Like in Rio, in the farmhouse, we're also going to have outdoor experiences in the lagoon. So we're going to have stand-up activities, kayaking activities, outdoor activities. But as we look forward, we also think that we need to understand where we're located and cater that experience to the local that we are. So if you look at our flagship store here in New York, you're going to see a different experience. You're going to see a space for Brazilian artisans to come and expose their work, for new Brazilian designers. You're going to have the sand in the store that bring that real feeling to New York, which is not quite common over here. So, and as you said, in terms of the digital transformation, we also see that the stores will become, digital transformation is going to make the stores have a bigger role than it does nowadays. So if you look at our omni-channel experiences, since we launched our ship from store, we reached our 60% of our customers within 3 hours. And that simply took our wholesale, our e-commerce business to a whole different level. So I think that going forward, our stores will start merging that experience, that localized experience, that personalization, new business models, and also an important role in the e-commerce business, the online business.
Let's talk a little more about the digital, because you have some phenomenal initiatives as your video just shared. So 25% of your business is online, but the most impressive figure is that you turn store associates into digital influencers, and this army of people, as you define, and they account for 80% of your online sales, which is amazing. So can you share a little bit more about this and how you implemented and evolved into this initiative?
Yes, this was an initiative that started in 2014, which solved the problem and created an opportunity, actually. At that time, we had over 60 stores, and our e-commerce was becoming more and more relevant. So, and as you know, in Brazil, the sales associates, they make a lot of the money out of commission. So they were feeling that sales were being taken away from them by e-com. So we started that. We basically built a affiliate program for the store associates, which is for every purchase made on the website with their code, they make the same commission as if they were made in stores. What happened was, the way we selected the store associates, we understood that we had 800 plus influencers. And then when Instagram became a huge thing in the last few years, nowadays we have 900 digital influencers working for the brand, the customer. A lot of them make quite a bit of money.
And these, of course, reduced your customer acquisition cost and also your marketing costs, because they are doing
awareness, customer service. They service the customer almost 24 hours a day. So a lot of the customers, they trust the sales associates that they interact digitally. So it's been.
And there are no more conflicts between online and offline.
Oh, they love it. I mean, they love it. It's one big business.
Great initiative. So let's take a look at the third video. Let's play the Melissa video.
We got love.
Melissa is for dreamers. All kinds of dreamers who turn ordinary material into extraordinary ideas. Ideas powered by collaboration and co-creation.
I live in abundance. Love is the new money. I'm mentally wealthy, spiritually conscious.
Dreams come true at Galleria Melissa, a space for dreaming about community and beyond.
Play catch with the hundreds. Love is the new money.
Club Melissa has expanded to more than 320 stores in Brazil and 140 exclusive stores across 80 countries. Melissa is our dream, created by real people who believe in a sustainable world. We are 40 years in the making, and that's just the beginning.
I also encourage the ones, you also have some fans here. I also encourage the ones who have still not visited the Galeria Melissa down in Soho to do so. It's beautiful. So Raquel, you've been able to transform an ordinary material into extraordinary ideas, as the video just showed. And what's been the contribution of the retail business, of the stores, in positioning the brand and driving sales to your brand?
Well, when you talk about accessing the consumer, we always at Melissa look at two different variables, the control and the experience. For example, if we sell our shoes to a multi-brand store like Corso Como, like Urban Outfitters, we can have a good experience, but the control is too low since we not own the store. So on the other hand, we have Galerias Melissa, which is our most important retail project. So there we can have the maximum of experience and control. So I think like Farm and Rituals, they said before, we see the stores, the Galerias Melissa, as a cultural and connection hub. We constantly have a lot of interventions connecting with the local community, gathering with local brands inside the store. So we have a lot of inside markets, workshops, we have monthly events. So I guarantee that if you stop by on a regular basis, you always find something new at a Galleria Melissa. So I believe retail is one of the most important components when building a brand positioning. Not only because they embody all the brand pillars, but also because they can create memories. And memories are so important when we are talking about branding. So the retail space is an amazing opportunity for doing that.
Great. And you are one of the few Brazilian brands internationally recognized by the iconic design and personality and innovation. What will be the role of the stores and the digital channels in now leverage your international development and the expansion of the Melissa brand abroad?
Yeah, in addition to the Galleria that I just mentioned, we have also the Clubes Melissa in Brazil, which is our franchise chain. So in Brazil, we have more than 300 stores. So we have big plans for the next upcoming years. Because in Brazil, for example, our business grown 200% after we opened the Club Melissas in Brazil in 2012. If we look just at the franchise operation, Club Melissa has grown more than 400%. So our plan is to spread the same concept around the world. So for 2020, Grandini, which is our main company, will invest on opening 20 stores around the world, 12 of them being in the United States. So our plan is to develop these stores, create a business model that works for the international market, and then start to franchise them. So I believe that store expansion and digital access are the key strategies to develop the brand internationally. When physical retail embody the brand pillars and create the memories, the real connection, the digital can expand the access, forming the 360 experience.
And the store is a key component for brand building and engaging and acquiring customer base.
Yeah.
So you three have some similarities because your businesses rely on proprietary brands. You have only exclusive products, and you are still controlled and run by the founders or family members of the founders. And I would like to ask you all how crucial you believe the control of the value chain and the corporate culture are to accelerate the transformation of the stores and ultimately the business model of your retail businesses. Mar, would you like to start?
Yeah, I think it's extremely important. So you always want to really stay close to your brand narrative because that is really the true authentic story of the brand and you want to see that execute in the best possible way. On the other hand, in each and every country or even local market, if you will, you also need to be open to really embrace the local nuances. So it's a little bit of a contradiction, but the bigger you get, it's all about letting go as well. Because, for example, here in New York, the pace is extremely high. So if we talk for hours about slowing down, and the way we do that in Europe seems a little bit odd. So but you really want to share the same story. But here we have, some sort of a speeding selling ceremony, which still relates to the consumer and still reflect the brand in its best possible way. But it's a little shorter.
How about you, Fabio? What do you think?
I'll put a complementary point of view. I think that the key word there is culture. I think that once you control the whole value chain, and I think that you told about the founders, and I think that's a big part of the founders' the role in the organization is how do we keep the culture? In Farm, we have the quality assurance question, which is, did we bring emotions to people in whatever we do? It can be from an IT side to our store experience. How do we control the cultural aspect of the brand? And how do we make sure that we maintain that in everything we do and everywhere they're expanding, and then any new business model or anyone that is relating to the brand?
Okay.
Yeah, for Melissa, it's crucial because we have a lot of third parties running different business in our name. So if you want to have brand consistency, having control of the value chain is super important. And another thing for us, it's people, because we need to have people that are adherent with the brand culture, so then we can create a strong brand worldwide.
Great. So let us now talk a little bit more about practical initiatives you've been deploying. So what have you been doing you can share with the audience in terms of infrastructure, data analytics, corporate culture development to build the foundations of a truly customer-centric and data-driven so-called new retail business model? Mar?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because we recently, last year, for example, implemented our CRM system, and it's a beautiful system, but it's not so much focused on the commercial value. It's more bringing the brand story alive, and it was a little bit of a risk, especially in a market like the US. But it's such a big hit because we truly focus on the authentic connections, and it's a little bit uncomfortable for people, but once they are in it, they really love it. And so our CRM system, if you look at how we have implemented in multiple countries, there's a different way of how people want to be in your system. So they use different tools. And you really have to make sure that you keep an eye on that, because the store manager and her teams, again, are focusing on growing that customer base. And our customer base grows on such a high pace that it's really important to make sure you have the right tools, the right explanation, and the right execution, therefore. But also in supply chain, if you want people to control the supply chain in their stores, you need to give them easy access. So we have an app, and it works quite well, and we use that across all layers of the organization. So we are looking at the same reality all the time.
Okay, Fabio, about you?
If we look at Soma Group, which Farm is part of, and we look at 7 years ago, this is the biggest transformation that we went through during this period. At that time, a lot of the decisions made in the company were made by intuition from the people running the business ever since they started. And since then, we changed the mindset of the company. We hired since then more than 100 engineers to run women fashion retailers and to help everyone that had experience and to merge their knowledge together. And obviously, in the beginning, was a little difficult for people to trust an algorithm that they had no clue how it was built. But once you could start seeing the results and start again building that culture of trusting data and making data-driven decisions, and I think that everyone nowadays can live without an engineer right next to them in anything they're doing, from product assortment to distribution to pricing. Everything now is really data-driven, and again, the most important thing for me is building that culture. Once you build that culture, things start happening a lot faster.
And people now embrace the culture and the culture evolution, and they believe in it.
And when you merge creativity with data, then the success is right around the corner.
It's a powerful combination. How about you, Raquel?
Well, we are now implementing the omni-channel in our 320 stores in Brazil with pickup in-store, shipping from store, and showrooming. So we are also improving our big data area, integrating all the databases that we have in the different players. We also have one integrated CRM technology combining socials. So it's combining with WhatsApp, Insta, and Facebook. And so this CRM is now responsible for 12% of our sales in our franchise chain Club Melissa. And we also invest a lot in specialized training. So we have an online platform to train all the salespeople. So this is very important for us to spread the culture to our sales team as well.
Great. Well, unfortunately, we are running out of time, but I think we have some very powerful takeaways here. I would just like to wrap up our insights. We heard here people defining stores as oases, magical portals, gallery, delivery hubs, connection hubs, but it's clear that there is a highly strategic and relevant role for the store in evolved and transformed retail business models. But this requires a culture involvement, as they point out. This requires the infrastructure and a strong investment looking at the long term in terms of systems, processes, and engagement of the people who need to embrace the change. And you cannot run a journey like this without a powerful leadership. So cultural leadership come together in this journey. I would like to thank you very much, Mar, Fabio, Raquel, and please a big thank to our speakers here. Thank you all for being with us. Have a nice day.